Christopher Paolini ist nicht nur jungen Lesern ein Begriff. Mit 30 Millionen verkauften Exemplaren ist der Autor der Eragon-Saga weltweit ein gefeierter Literaturstar. Er ist zu Gast auf der Leipziger Buchmesse, hat gestern vor 1400 Menschen seinen neuen Erzählband über die Eragon-Geschichte präsentiert und heute ist er mein Gast zu einem kurzen Gespräch. Perfect. Mr. Paolini, thank you for taking the time to see me. It's a great pleasure. You wrote Eragon at the age of 15, an age in which other boys are playing football or computer games all day long. What was your motivation to write a book when you were such a young man?
I wanted to write the sort of story that I would enjoy reading myself, and since I enjoyed reading books with dragons and battles and adventures, that's exactly what I set out to do. Also, I was homeschooled my entire life, and I graduated from school at 15, and as a result, I didn't have anything to do. I live in a very isolated part of Montana in the United States, so there were no houses, there were no friends to play with, there were no jobs, so I had to find some way to entertain myself.
Why did you start writing fantasy novels and not crime or...
Because in some ways, modern fantasy is the myths and legends of our era, and I love that sense of history, I love the sense of adventure, and since I grew up in the wilderness, in a rural area, fantasy was the one genre that wrote about the things that I was familiar with, like being out in the woods, being in the mountains, running into dangerous animals. Plus, dragons are cool.
You grew up in Paradise Valley in Montana with your parents and your sister Angela at your side. What did she say when her brother became a best-selling author and a writing superstar?
My sister has been very supportive from the very beginning. She also has a good sense of humor since I based one of my characters off of my sister. And not only that, over the years she has become one of my early readers, one of my best editors, and a very close friend that I'm always talking to her about story ideas.
Did your family play a decisive role during this time? If yes, to what extent?
Oh, definitely. Not only did they support the things I was interested in, once I actually gave the manuscript for Eragon to my parents, they were the ones who helped edit it and helped me then to self-publish the book. So without their help and without their support, none of this would have happened. And even to this day, my parents are my first readers, along with my sister, and my first editors.
Which person do you like most? The hero, Eragon, a good, unyielding character, or Galbatorix, the incarnation of evil, and why?
Neither. I like the dragon Saphira. But if I had to choose, obviously Eragon, but as an author, I enjoy both characters equally as well. But as a person, obviously, I would choose Eragon.
Would you like to be a dragon rider?
Yes, as long as I don't have to feed the dragon, because I think that would get very expensive very fast. Plus, if you think about it, dragons breathe fire, and if you imagine a dragon breathing fire onto a herd of sheep, it would smell horrendous. It would be the worst smell in the world.
Are there any person in your real life, especially in your family, who were role models for Eragon characters?
No, I based Eragon off myself in some ways, because the easiest thing for a 15-year-old boy to do is write about a 15-year-old boy. However, over the course of even the first book, Eragon does many things that I've never done, such as riding dragons and fighting monsters, and as a result, he very much became his own character. Probably the biggest trait we share is his unending curiosity and his optimism about the world.
Did other books serve as sources of inspiration for you?
Of course. I'm a huge fantasy fan and classical literature fan. I read everything. Dune by Frank Herbert was a large influence. Lord of the Rings, of course. The Mabinogion tetralogy by Evangeline Walton. The Gormenghast series by Mervyn Peake. The Wizard of Earthsea trilogy by Ursula K. Le Guin. The War of Ouroboros by E.R. Edison. And many, many more.
15 years after the initial release of the first book, you come back to Alagasia. Why?
Because I fell in love with the world and the characters just like my readers did. And although I've been working on other projects in the years since, I kept wondering what Eragon and Saphira were doing, and I kept having ideas for these short stories. So about 2 years ago, I decided to finally sit down and start writing them.
There's one story in your new book, The Fog, the Witch, and the Worm, written by your sister Angela. Do you think that a female point of view supports your story?
I think that my sister is a very good writer, and that any author, whether male or female, who is a good author could have brought something unique to that character. I don't know if my sister being a woman helped her or not, but I do know that my sister being who she is helped that story, and I could not have written what she wrote. And for that, I'm grateful that she was able to bring that to the world.
Are you already having a first idea for your next novel?
I am a week and a half from finishing a science fiction novel, and when I'm home from touring, I'll finish it up, and when it's done, I am going to sit down and read it through from start to finish. And if I'm happy with what I read, I will give it to my agent, and if he's happy with what he reads, then the book will be published in the near future. And on top of that, I have many more collections of short stories within the world of Eragon planned, as well as some full-size novels within the world.
It is also an all-age novel like Eragon?
Yes, I mean, the main character is an adult, but I think that if someone has enjoyed reading Eragon and the sequels, you will very much enjoy this novel also. It's full of spaceships and lasers and aliens and explosions and even some tentacles.
Can you give some helpful hints for young up-and-coming writers?
Yes, read as much as you can. Good authors are good readers. Outline your stories before you start writing them. It's very hard to figure out what you're supposed to be writing as you write it. So outline everything. You should know your story well enough that you could sit around a campfire and tell it to your friends and make it work before you start the first chapter. Learn everything you can about the language you're writing in. That is the tool of the trade, and the better you understand it, the better you can take what's in your head, put it on the page, and get it into someone else's head. Find someone in your life, a family member, a friend, a teacher, someone who's a good reader, who can read your work, and who can tell you what you have done wrong. As painful as editing can be, I guarantee you will learn more from editing than you ever will from just writing. That's certainly been the case for me. Write every day, just like you were practicing a musical instrument or athletics or something. Write every day, make a habit of it, at least 30 minutes every day. And then, despite all of that, I would say, have fun. Write about the things that interest you the most. Writing a book that is 500 pages long is not easy, but if you truly care about the subject material, that will get you through the book. That will get you through the manuscript. So don't worry about what other people will say. Write about whatever it is you love. There are, 6-7 billion people on this planet. No matter what you're interested in, I guarantee that there are millions of other people who love the same subject material.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you for reading the books. And as my main character, Eragon, would say, Sioner Sverdar Sitya Havas. May your swords stay sharp.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope those answers weren't too long.
It's perfect.